Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. First of all, I would like to pay my homage to the three Gems, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And I would like to pay my highly respect to Venerable lecturers, Venerable Dr. Chun Sien, our lecturer for the subjects Buddhism in the West. I am Hoye from Cambodia. Within the semester of 2020, as the epidemic of COVID-19, our busiest students are required to take the online class. And in this semester, in the subject Buddhism in the West, I would like to say thank you very much to Venerable Chun Sien, who have taught us this subject, and we are very happy to study with you. At the end of the semester, all the students are required to have a presentation on any particular topic related to the subjects Buddhism in the West. And I am Hoye. have chosen one topic about Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi and his influence to Buddhism in the West. I have about 20 minutes to do these presentations, and my presentation is on the computer, and we will move to our computer to see and to have a presentation. So let's see our presentation on the slide. Okay, Venerable Sir. So now let's see our presentations on the slide. Our subject is Buddhism in the West, and my topic is Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi and his influence on Buddhism in the West. So before going to the presentation, I would like to let you see our content first. Okay, so the first one I am going to talk about the early life of Bhikkhu Bodhi and his studies, when he was in America, when he was a child. And then I am going to talk about his first encounter with a Buddhist monk. Then he traveled and became a monk in Sri Lanka. Okay, so this is the third main point, and the first main point is Bhikkhu Bodhi returned to the US. When did he return to the US? And Bhikkhu Bodhi's work. And last one, I am going to talk about his influence on Buddhism in the West. Okay, so now let's see the early life of Bhikkhu Bodhi and his study. I would like to say sorry that I cannot find the early photos of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. I can find only the photo when he has become a monk. So as we know, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi was born in 1944 in Brooklyn, New York. It is in the USA. He is an American, but he was born to the Jewish parent. So Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi was growing up in Bora Park, where he attended his elementary school. And later, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi obtained his BA in philosophy from Brooklyn College in 1966. So after he finished his high school, he attended college by studying philosophy. And later on, in 1972, he obtained his PhD in philosophy as well. So both from his BA and PhD, he studied philosophy. But when he obtained his PhD in Claremont Graduate University, so this is the life of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi when he was born and for his study in the USA before he became a monk. So let's move to the second part of our presentation. Is about his first encounter with a Buddhist monk. Actually, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi wrote the article called My First Encounter with Buddhist Monk, maybe about in 2008, I think. Yeah, so in the course we also studied about it. So within my presentation, I cannot go through all, the whole topic, but I just go to the main point, that how did he came to meet or come to encounter with a Buddhist monk. So he has mentioned that in the first week of August in 1965, after finishing the summer school, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi set out to travel by car from New York to California. Okay, so this is the time when he finished his summer school. Okay, and then he went with a couple of fellow students, and they start from the Collins College, to the Madison's Wilson, and then when he reached the Wisconsin, he has spent a night there. So with the friends of him that he has traveled with. And after that, when he had a night at that place, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi had decided to have a walk in the morning. So when he got up in the morning, he took a walk. And he said that his step led him through the quiet street to a large, beautiful lake bordering the University of Wisconsin. So he walked from the place he had slept to the borders of University of Wilson. And that is the time, that is the place that he encountered with the monk. And there he saw the monk. So how he saw the monk? He has mentioned in his article that, so this is how he mentioned. It is very nice. He mentioned that as I was approaching the mall in the middle of the campus, something astonishing happened. To the right of my field of vision, the door of a big stone building suddenly swung open, and out stepped the middle-aged man with his Asian feature, wearing a yellow-orange robe. So this is very astonishing. This is very interesting that he has mentioned about how he has encounters with a monk. And at that time when he saw the monk, he didn't talk anything with the monk. He just observed the monk from the distance. But when they went away, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi at that time, he thought that he will never come across the monk or meet the monk again. This is what he said. But fortunately, in few years later, when he was pursuing his PhD, he came to meet a Vietnamese monk, and later, it led him to meet the monk that he saw in Wisconsin University. So this is very, very wonderful. Okay, so let's move to the next part of my presentation, which is about his travel and became a monk in Sri Lanka. As we know, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, he is an American monk. So he was born in America. So after he completed his university studies, he traveled to Sri Lanka, where he received a novice ordination. So he received a novice ordination in 1972. A year later, he took a full ordination as a bhikkhu. So in 1973. So this was the time that he became a monk. So after he studying in Sri Lanka, so for many years, he was a president and editor of Buddhist Publication Society in Sri Lanka. Yeah, so this is one of the Buddhist society that publishes many books, yeah, to spread to the world. So let's see. You know, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi was appointed as an editor of the Buddhist Publication Society in 1984, and its president, the president of Buddhist Publication Society in 1988. So this is how he contributes to Buddhism in Sri Lanka as well as to the world, as he worked as a president of the Buddhist publication in Sri Lanka. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi has many important publications to his credit, yeah, either as the author or translator or editor. So these are some works that Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi has contributed contribute his time for the Buddhism. Okay. One of the most important events that I would like to point here is Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi was invited to give a speech at the United Nations in 2000, and it was the keynote address to the United Nations at its first official celebration of Vishal. Yeah. So at that time, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi gave a speech on the life of the Buddha, the birth of the Buddha, the enlightenment, and the Nibbana. Okay, so now we move to the fourth part of our presentation, which is Bhikkhu Bodhi returned to the U.S. So when did Bhikkhu Bodhi return to the U.S.? He returned to the U.S. in 2002, and since July 2002, he has been living and teaching in the Bodhi Monastery, in the United States. He is currently a president of the Sangha Council of Buddhist Monastery and the chairman of Insurance Foundation. So even though nowadays I have come across some course of him, he also provides some lesson online to people around the world. So maybe some of us who are interested in, we also can take this course. Okay. Some other activities of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi when he returned to the U.S. So in 2008, he and his student founded the Buddhist Global Relief. This is a non-government organization. It is a non-profit support hunger relief and sustainable agriculture, education in the country that's suffering from the chronic poverty and malnutrition. So these are the work of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, that he has compassion to people, especially for those who live in poverty. In May 2013, he was elected as a president of BAUS. BAUS means Buddhist Association of the United States. So from 2013 till now, he is the president of Buddhist Association of the United States. Okay, so now we move to the work of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. As we know, Venerable Bodhi is one of the prominent Buddhist scholars in today's world. He has done many work. He has wrote many books, and here I would like to raise only three main work of him. And the first one is the work of the translation of Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length discourse of the Buddha. And this work he was co-translated with Venerable Bhikkhu Nalan Nyanamoli. Yes, it has completed in 1955. So that was the time he was in Sri Lanka, right? Okay, and later on he did a new translation of Samyutta Nikaya. The connected discourse of the Buddha in 2000. After returning to the U.S., Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi is not just doing meditations, or he not just teaching to people, but he spends a lot of his time to translate the other Nikaya, which is called Anguttara Nikaya. In 2012, it has been completed. So these are the three main work of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. So now let's move to see some of his work on the website. Okay, so here are the works of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. In 1989, he wrote the discourse on the fruits of reclusive. And then in 1955, the middle length discourse, means the translation of Majjhima Nikaya with Venerable Nyanamoli. And later, he wrote the great discourse on the causation, the Mahanidanta Sutta and its commentary. And the other, he wrote the great discourse on causation. And later, the numeral discourse of the Bhikkhu Bodhi on ontologies of Sutta from the Anguttara Nikaya. So these are his work. All these are his work. The connected discourse of the Buddha, the new translation of Sangyutta Nikaya. The Buddha and his Dhamma. This is also one of the most important book he has wrote. Okay, the Noble Eightfold Pathway, the ends of suffering. And the discourse on the all-embracing-ness of view, the Brahmacharya Sutta. And the commentary exegesis. The numeral discourse of the Buddha, the translation of Sangyutta Nikaya, the comprehension module of Abhidhamma, the Abhidhamma Sankha of Acharya Anuruddha, and then ontologies of the discourse from the Pali canons, and the Buddha's teaching on social and communal harmony, ontologies of the discourse from the Pali canons, the discourse on the roots of existence, and the Sutta Nipata, an ancient collection of the Buddha discourse and its canonical commentary, investigation of the Dhamma, a collection of paper, so these are the paper collection, and the Dhamma reflects collected essay on the Bhikkhu Bodhi, reading the Buddha discourse in Pali, the practice guide to the language of ancient Buddhist canon. So these are the works of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. There are many works that he has done so far. Okay, so let's move back to our slide. Okay, so as we have seen, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi have done many work for Buddhism, even in Sri Lanka and as well as in the world. Okay, so this is the very important part in our presentation. We is talking about the influence of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi on Buddhism in the West. As you know, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi is an American Buddhist monk. So here, I would like to raise three main influence, or three main aspects that be influenced by Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. The first one is his ordination. I would like to raise this point as it is very important, as we know that Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi himself is a Westerner. So when he became a monk, he himself is a Westerner, has been influenced. Somehow, when he became a monk, even his family, his friends, and those people who know him get to know more Buddhism. They, get more involved in Buddhism, as this is the way that Buddhism or Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi can influence to Buddhism in the West. As come to this point, I remember once that Venerable Arahant Mahanda, the Arahant that brought Buddhism to Sri Lanka, once he mentioned that in order to make Buddhism flourish in any part of the country, or any place, those people must have their sons who become a monk. So that's why I would like to point out this point that Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's ordination has a huge influence on Buddhism in the West, as he is a Westerner. As he is a Westerner, yeah, his family, his friend got to know Buddhism, and somehow they also start to learn Buddhism as well. So the second aspect is his work and contribution. As we know, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi have done many work, as we have just mentioned, yeah. Even those the translation of Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, and Anguttara Nikaya, and some of other work he has done. So those work has great influence to the Westerner, as many people can take those work to study, to get to know more about the teaching of the Buddha. So his work has influenced to many Westerners, and especially those scholars who want to learn or do some more research on Buddhism. As in our coursework, Venerable lecturers also As in our coursework, Venerable lecturer also mentioned that many scholars, when they talk about Buddhism and anything that related to Buddhism, somehow they take the works of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi as a reference. Okay, so let's move to the last point, but not least, his teaching and social work. I would like to point out this because it is very important. As Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi is a Westerner, when he returns to the US, he has done many things. As I have mentioned that after returning to the US, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi is not just sitting and meditation in the monastery by himself, but he contributes a lot to the society. He provides many classes and teaching events online and offline. Even online and offline. And he also has the social work, as he creates the non-profit organization to help people. So these are the three aspects. These are the three ideas that I would like to point out about the influence of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi on the Western Buddhism. So the first one, his ordination, his family, his friends coming to study Buddhism, because Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi and many other in the world, as you know that Bhikkhu Bodhi as a Westerner became a monk, yeah, so they get interested in learning Buddhism as well. His work and contribution and his teaching and social work. So now, before moving to, we can say the last part of our presentation, I would like to show you some pictures of Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi as he has done in his lifetime. Maybe when he became a monk, he tried to study, and then he becomes a Buddhist scholar, and he did a lot of work for Buddhism, even though when he was in Sri Lanka and after returning to the US, and he established the non-profit organization to help the poor people. Especially Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, even though at a very old age, now in 2020, he is 76 years old already, as he was born in 1944. So even today, I have come across some course of him online that we can join. So he provides the course in Buddhism, and he gives a lot of speech, even though he gave a speech at the United States. He gave a speech at the United Nations as well. Okay, so now come to the conclusion. Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi is an American Buddhist monk. He was born in America. He was born in the America. He was born in America to a Jewish family, a Jewish parent. And later, after he graduated from his PhD in philosophy, he became a monk. He traveled to Sri Lanka and became a monk and studied Buddhism in Sri Lanka. This we can know that Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, before he became a monk, he had a great knowledge already as he finished his PhD in philosophy. When he became a monk and studied Buddhism in Sri Lanka, later on he served as a translator, editor, teacher, and as well as the scholar. In what I want to point out at the last of my presentation is, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi has a great influence on Buddhism in the West, as the first one on his ordination, the second one on his work, last on his teaching. Okay, so thank you very much, Venerable Sir. Now I come to the end of my presentation. So I would like to say thank you very much for your listening to my presentation, and if I have any mistakes during my presentation, so I would like you to give me some advice in order to improve myself in the future. Thank you very much.